display a mouse. Say for example, you can see here, if I'm taking a any icon, it will let us know what actually that icon indicates. You can see here isosceles triangle. Say for example, if I'm moving towards a arrow, it will tell what type of arrow. So like this, the functionality has to be created when we are using the MVC pattern. That means when we have created a view, so that view has to display the entire information to the end user in such a manner that there are no ambiguities within the features. And next thing is we have created a sensor of abstraction. So when we have taken a sensor abstraction, so it has to define what type of platform, whether it is a controllers are platform dependent or a platform independent. So whenever we are trying to fetch some events, so how the events can be executed without any delay, in what way that has to be executed. So it has to be purely platform independent, and it has to support whatever the requested displays are there. Those requested displays has to be carried out by the system. And next thing is the design of the abstract classes display and sensor in a non-trivial method. So whatever the display or information is there, it should be with the perfect efficiency, or it should be resulting in a whatever the code that has been written in such a way that it should be an accurate, even though if it is being executed on a different platforms. So this is how the implementation will be taken care. And next is a document view. So when you take the variant indicates that what are the other different forms that are available with this particular pattern. So with this particular pattern, so with this particular pattern, MVC pattern, we have a one more variant called as a document view. When we are using this document view, it is a separation between a view and a controller. We don't have any particular view or a particular controller that will be created. It is just a graphical user interface platform that we are going to take that we are going to consider to display some information. It can be in a form of a report. Say if we are taking a Word document, in a Word document you can make a different formatting, right? You can create a text by using the word art. So once you have done with the word art, you can change the font style, you can increment the font, decrement the font, you can use a different font styles. All these things can be considered with respect to the view. If you want to make a shadow of that particular text, you can create that. If you want to include a subscript, superscript, whatever it is, all the modification or all the formatting can be done with respect to that particular report. So that report for the external user, it will be has a view, and the controllers are nothing but the commands that has been implemented for that particular the document. So that we are going to call it as a document view structures. And the uses of this MVC pattern are, so it can be used in a Smalltalk, MFC, and ET++. These are the different application, or these are the different platforms where we are trying to create a MVC pattern. So normally we are to implement this MVC pattern, it is more expensive. Actual implementation of a MVC pattern.
Excuse me, ma'am.
1 second. Yes, who is that?
Ma'am, all are waiting, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So next we have a consequences. So in consequences, In consequences, we are going to have about the benefits, okay, and the liabilities. So what are the different benefits that we are going to get if we are applying this particular pattern, either MVC pattern, and what are the liabilities, and what are the different reasons that we are not able to adopt this MVC pattern. So these are the things that has to be taken care. So here, first consequence that we are having is multiple views of the same model. So here what happens, since we are looking, the MSC pattern has three different components. So each and every components are strictly separated from the user interface components. So whatever the views are there, whatever the views that our user is going to select, so that is entirely independent of the other components, and the end user cannot will be not able to modify the entire model. So it will whatever the multiple views are there, so all the multiple views will be related to the one single model. So we had taken an example of a election result. So the same election result, we had taken a multiple views, either a bar chart, column chart, or a pie chart, or in terms of a parliament view. So here we are not taking for each and every chart, we are not using a different models. So all the different views are dependent on a single model. That means a single model can help the user to view in a different manner. That is one of the advantage, and all this implementation or all these changes can be adopted during the runtime with the help of a multiple views. At the same time, the views can be opened or and closed dynamically. So that is one of the advantage of using the MVC pattern. That means the MVC pattern accepts the dynamic changes. And the next one is synchronized views. So when you say a synchronized views, here what happens, it adopts a change propagation mechanism. So what is this change propagation mechanism? So whenever there is a something change that are going to happen within a data, so that changes has to be notified with all the components. That is, either it can be a model, or it can be a view, or it can be a controller. So the controller will accept those data, fetch the data, and it has to display with the requested view. So whatever the model changes that has been notified, and that model has adapted. So all those corrected data or changes that has happened at the particular time. So with the exact time, it has to synchronize the dependent views. Immediately, it has to change the view. In such a manner, the synchronized view will be considered in MVC pattern. And next thing is pluggable views and controllers. So here what happens, we are trying to use a different conceptual separation of MVC pattern. So we are looking in terms of three different components. Since we are looking, it has a three different components. So if anything happens, it should be in a form of a replaceable. So either you can replace a view, or you can replace a controller objects of the model. So that view and controllers we are looking, it has a pluggable. So if any changes are required, so it can adopt those changes. So we are calling that views and controllers as a pluggable. So it depends entirely upon a user interface where the objects are going to be abstracted at the runtime. And next thing is exchangeability of look and feel. That means what? Whatever the data that we are having, that has to be represented in a look and feel format. That means it should be easily interpreted by the end user. So how you can give the data as a how we can adapt those changes? So by using the exchangeability, how the exchangeability can be adopted? So by using a new platform which does not affect the core functionality of the application. That is, whatever the functionality that has been written or that has been implemented, it should not affect any core functionality, but instead, whatever the changes, whatever the views that is requested each and every platform, it has to support those views. So that is exchangeability of look and feel. And next thing is framework potential. That means this MVC pattern is being looking as a entire framework. So here what we are considering the implementation steps from 7 to 10. That means here we are using a designing of the controller, designing of the view, uh, decoupling of the components. So by using these steps, we are trying to develop it has a functionality. So those are the consequences of the MVC pattern. Next, we have a liabilities. So liabilities are nothing but the disadvantages of pattern. So though we are considering the pattern, so there are some of the liabilities that has to be considered, or there is a concern about the liabilities. So first thing is increased complexity. So why we are calling this MVC pattern is most increased complexity, because to build any interactive application, the system has very difficult. Okay, so either it can be by using we need to look in terms of a separate model view and the controller components. So for each and every component we need to identify what are the different menus, so how the text elements has to be created, so whether to increase the textual information, and what is the complexity with by providing flexibility, because MVC pattern should be also a flexible pattern, because whenever the user is providing or user is requesting for a multiple views, it has to support all the different views, so it should be flexible. To make it as a flexible and more interactive, it is little difficult task. Next is potential for excessive number of updates. That means if a single user action results in many updates, so the user is requesting for a different update. Say for example, we have taken a voting every time for every 5 minutes, each and every parties are getting updated. So with the by keep on updating the result, so every time the notification has to be generated, and those notification has to be sent to the other components. And while providing the notification, some notification may be missed, and that may not be adopted, or that data may be missing. So we need to take since if there are many number of updates, and every time if there is a change propagation mechanism, so adopting to the change propagation mechanism, very often it is difficult. And next thing is intimate connection between a view and a controller. So there is a some close relationship between a controller and a view, though they are separate, but they are literally they,
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, students are waiting, ma'am.
okay, okay. Okay, next, though they are literally separate, we are looking it as a closely related components, because there can be an individual reuse of these components, and they may share the controller while having a different views. So that is the reason, that is one of the liability. And next thing is close coupling of views and controllers to the model. So here what happens when we are looking for a identification of a model and a view, it has to be identified the coupling between the model also, because the controller components make a direct call to the model to access all the data. And while accessing the model's interface, so there can be a likely to break the code of both the view and controller. That means there can be a chances where the controller can be out of the control while displaying the different views, because during the runtime a multiple views has to be generated. So during that time some application, some code may not be in a working state due to the large amount of data or due to the model's interface. So these are the problems. And next is inefficiency of data access in view. So when we are considering the data in a model, so what happens there? We are identifying the depending interfaces for the model. So what are the different views that can be generated with respect to a data that is being existing in a model? So sometimes the user may unnecessarily request for unchanged data to view the model in a different manner. So what happens if unnecessary request has been sent to the model? What happens? It can reduce the performance of the update. That is, whatever the updates are there, frequent updates may not be obtained with respect to the views. So in that case, what happens? The view will become a responsiveness. The view may not be improved. So whatever the data that has been changed in a model, that may not be reflected in terms of a view. So we need to take care that how often that the model has to be accessed, and or how often the data has to be updated to the model. Next is inevitability of change to the view and the controller when porting. That means what happens when we are since we have identified that has a platform, that has to be identified with respect to the platform. So while porting with the different platforms for this MVC framework, so what happens if there are any components which are purely dependent on a user interface and which are encapsulated within a view and a controller? What happens while porting? They may be separated from the platform dependent code before writing. That means it has to be separated, because since if there are any dependencies are there while porting, they has to be removed, and it has to be fixed it later. Next is difficulty of using MVC with modern user interface tools. So whatever the available recent tools are there or modern tools are there, so the user interfaces may be changed, and adopting these different views to the current trends or current tools, it may be a difficult task. So it may not be supportive. That has to be taken care, and we need to identify the right tool to implement the MVC pattern. So this is all about a MVC pattern. So any doubts in this pattern? Do you have any doubts in the pattern?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So next we have a pattern. Okay, next we have some design patterns. So those design patterns are being classified as a structural decomposition, organization of work, communication, access control, and the management. So these are the different design patterns that we are that has been classified. So what is this structural decomposition? So the structural decomposition is nothing but a particular category where the entire system is being decomposed into a different subsystem. So you cannot implement when you are when you want to implement a particular application, you are organizing that in terms of a modules, right? So why do you organize the entire application into the modules? Naina, Naina, unmute and speak, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you want to organize the system into the subsystem, or you want to divide the entire application into the modules? What is the purpose? Yes. Did you want my question, Naina?
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you want to organize into different modules? What's the purpose? Speak out, Naina. Any answer? Yes, you can mute yourself, Naina. Mute, ma. So the application, whatever the application that we want to develop, it may be a complex, right? You cannot take it as a whole system. Instead, you are looking it into a different modules or different subsystem or smaller system so that it can be implemented. Each and every part of the system are going to provide its service, right? So here, one such example that we are looking for is a whole part pattern. The whole part pattern comes under, or it is being classified under, a structural decomposition. Why? Because we are looking it in terms of two different parts. So one part we are calling it as a whole, and the other part we are calling it as a part. So why we have divided, or why we are taken it into the two systems? Because all the entire parts or entire system cannot be operated together, or it to make it has a working together without identifying it as a subsystem, it may be a tedious job. So what we need to do, we need to organize that into that in terms of a subsystem. So when we have organized it, or when we have broken into a different subsystems, so what happens? Each and every subsystem has its own name and its own services. So you can ask, or you can assign a different task to different subsystems which has been decomposed, right? So when you are looking it as a, when you want to look it as a one entire object, then you need to consider it as a whole. So that is what we mean it as a structural decomposition. So where we are considering whole part has a one particular category under a structural decomposition. And next we have a pattern is organization of work. In an organization of work, what we need to do, we have a complex task, and we want to identify without any fault, without fault tolerance, with the computational accuracy. What we need to have, we need to get the work done, or all the services has to be provided. So what we are doing, we are trying to split the entire services based on what type of services. So here what happens, it can though it will be taken as an independent parts, all the execution, all the work will be executing in parallel. So under this organization of work, what we have a master slave pattern. So this master slave pattern can be implemented for a complex task. Okay, say for example, if we are taking a college has a one college has a master, so can we consider each individual department has a slaves? Answer to me, Anu. Anu.
Ma'am.
Yeah, answer to me. Can we consider college and department has a master slave? Different departments are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you take a branch as a one particular master and we have a different semester, so all the semesters will be working parallelly, right? So here we can look that in terms of a master slave. So what the master slave says, so whatever the tasks are there, all the tasks will be carried parallelly, and we are combining after the task is being completed. So all the work will be, the resultant will be computed together to get the accuracy. So under that, what we have a organization of work has one particular pattern. And next thing is access control. So for access control, can you give an example? You have done this access control in your lab slot. Which pattern comes under access control? Can you name the pattern? Nishant? Nishant. Nishant, are you there? Srinidhi? Srinidhi. So the access control pattern will will guard and control the access services or the components. So if you want to protect the services, or if you want to provide the services based on the request, um, and the components has to be secure. So then what we need to do, we need to guard all the services and the components, so that can be taken care by the proxy pattern. So here what happens, say for example, there are certain websites, and that certain websites, the data center want to hide, or it has to deny the service access. So when a student want to access that particular website, say it can be any social uh, social websites. Okay, so for any social website like a Facebook or a Instagram or any other social networking websites are there. So if you want to deny the access to those services in a particular lab, so what happens, we can adopt this proxy pattern. So what happens when you have taken a proxy, and if you have given that which are the websites that has to be denied for an access, if you put up all the websites in that particular application, so what happens, the particular websites, when you are requesting, it will be not open. That means you are trying to control the access. So that one such example that we can have is with respect to a proxy pattern, so which deny the access services to the user based on a implementation. Next is a management pattern. So under this management pattern, we have a different collection of objects, and each and every object are going to provide its own services, and it has its own identity. So under this management pattern, we can have a two different patterns. One is a view handler pattern. So this view handler pattern describes how to manage the different views in a software system. It addresses the management of the views, and the command processor pattern where it addresses how what are the different commands that has to be executed on behalf of the user. So that is how we are going to use the pattern. And next is the communication pattern. So in communication pattern, we need to organize all the communication between a components. So how, when we are using a peer-to-peer communication, so how the communication can be provided with respect to the different address issues of interprocess communication. So either it can be a forward or receiver pattern, it can be a client dispatcher pattern, or it can be a uh, publisher subscriber pattern. So these are the different categories of pattern that we are going to identify with respect to the design pattern. So under the design pattern, we have a whole part pattern. So the whole part pattern is implemented, or it helps the organization of a different components has a single unit. So there we are applying the concept of a aggregation of components. So when we are trying to aggregate the different components, and all these different components come together to form a single semantic unit. So that will be taken care by the whole part pattern. So an aggregate component is a whole. So this whole is an encapsulation of the different constituent parts, and all these parts are organized with respect to the collaboration of a common interface and to its functionality. So whatever the parts that are there, all the different parts are being organized with respect to the functionality. So dependent on a interface, we are trying to organize all the different components. So when we have identified as a part, so each and every part will not cannot be accessed directly. So where we can use this whole part, so we can take an example of a CAD. So the in a CAD system, so we can this CAD software will be used by the engineers. So what they are going to do, they are going to develop a different graphical objects, and all these different graphical objects can be used interactively. So how they are going to use this CAD system? So these CAD systems they are going to use for the modeling purpose. So the modeling can be either a 2D objects, or it can be a 3D object. So depending upon what type of objects or what type of interactive systems that has to be brought, so they are going to develop either a 2D or 3D modeling. And in such system, so whatever the graphical objects are there, all these um, objects are modeled with the composition, right? So if you are taking a car as an object, so the car is an aggregation of a smaller objects. So it can be a wheels, windows, door, right? Then it can be a accelerator, brake, gear, steering, engine, battery, also whatever the different objects are there. So all these different objects are modeled. So how they are modeled? So they are modeled by using the geometrical objects. So either it can be a circles, or it can be a polygons. So it is a responsibility of the car objects to implement the functionalities that will be identified and it will be operated as a car as a whole. So that can be taken as a rotating or a drawing. So here is an example of a aggregation of objects. So here you can see, so the car has a different, is made up of a different objects, right? So here you can see the wheels of the car, the door, window, the mirror of the car, and the car bumpers, right? So here you cannot we will be not able to see the other side of the car, so where the car has a different component, so those are listed here. So how can we implement what for implementing the whole part? We are taking a context as a implementing the aggregation of objects. So we are going to consider our different objects, and all these objects are combined together as a single unit. So that is a context of a whole part pattern. So what are the different problems or different problems that forces the structure? So the first thing is the complex object should be either decomposed into a smaller object or it should be composed of existing objects. Say for example, if any similar systems are there, you can use those similar existing objects and you can compose by using those existing components. Say for example, you have taken a wheel. Okay, so you are doing the, we are taken a car as an example. So similarly, other than car, if the user want to design, if the engineer want to design it as a bus, then what happens? This wheels, doors and windows are common. So he can use those existing objects and it supports the reusability. So according to the requirement, he can make some smaller changes and he can constitute that as an aggregation of an object. And next thing is client should see the aggregate object as an atomic object. So it should be individual object and it should not have a direct, it should be not able to have an access directly. That care should be taken. And how can we get the solution for this? The solution can be introduced as a encapsulation of a smaller objects and it has to prevent the direct access to the end clients. So the clients will be not able to have an access directly to the parts. And the and we need to define an interface for aggregation with the functionality. So whatever the different parts that has been identified, all those different parts will be encapsulated with the functionality, and those functionality cannot be accessed by the end customer. And while using this whole part pattern, so it has a organization of a relationship into three different types. So the what are the three different types that we are using? So first is assembly parts. So assembly parts relationship. So in this assembly part relationship, we have to differentiate between a product and a part. So what are the different parts are there? So how the assembly of these parts can be done, that has to be identified, and how the internal structure should be there. Say for example, if you have taken a CPU as a one particular component, the CPU is a combination of a different parts, right? You cannot so outside when you are looking the CPU, you are looking it as a whole, right? So but when you go with respect to the internal structure of the CPU, the entire internal structure of the CPU is being composed of different parts, right? So the CPU consists of a mini fan, right? It consists of a RAM, it consists of a hard disk, right? It consists of different connections, it consists of buses, address bus, data bus, all these things are being considered. That means the internal structures may be represented in a different manner. So that internal structure assembly can also tighten the parts integrated, and where we are looking it as a whole. And next is a container contains relationship. So when you say a container contains relationships, each and every object will be taken as a container. So say for example, if you take a book as a container, so what does the book contains? The book contains book is made up of different pages, right? So where the pages will be taken as a contents. So if you take a postal package, so in a postal package the letter can be a content, so the container can be an envelope. So it is an assembly of the parts. So in that way we can look the entire whole part pattern has a container contents relationship. And next we have a collection members relationship. So in this collection member relationship, we are organizing the objects as its member. So what are the different members that are available? So how the operations of each member is being taken care. So how we can treat each individual member equally. That has to be taken care. So these are the three different relationships that we are trying to use when we are using a whole part pattern. Any doubts in a whole part?